Hello, BookTube. I have a mail haul for you today. Technically the first mail haul of the week, although we had mail yesterday. Mail that has been coming to me in bits and pieces, in odd places, at odd hours, in dribs and drabs, all throughout the course of this very hot day in Boston. We end in a small box and a couple of large envelopes, and there's no need for me to do my usual Death Race 2000 spiel because my spider sense is going off through the roof about this mail haul. So I don't think there's any chance that it's going to have nothing of interest to me. So we will see if my spider sense is right, but it's almost never wrong. So let's see what this first one is. The first thing it is ineptly packed, but that's okay. see what happens. See that? This is to be folded and stuck inside the book. You don't just have to fold it once. It's not like it's an automation nightmare. But if you put it full size with the envelope, then when I tear the envelope, I'm going to tear your pub sheet. You don't want me to do that, do you? Okay, so what is this? Oh, it's a poetry collection. Oh, how nice. Okay, so this is from Four Way Books. And this is a poetry collection called Here by Sidney Lee. Pretty thing, don't you think? That is our poet right there. And this is his 13th book of poetry, where he gives voice to the deep connection between human life and the natural world, as well as their fragility and transience. Okay, so the nature poetry. He is a former Pulitzer finalist, founded and for 13 years edited the New England Review, and this is his 13th volume of poetry. He has been active in literacy efforts and conservation, especially in Maine, where the land trust he chaired until 2018 conserved nearly 400,000 acres of working forest. Okay, so he's a good guy, and we'll just see what his poetry is like. Do we have a date on this thing? When do I have to pay attention to this? At this mangled pub sheet, early September. Okay, early September. So. I don't have to pay attention to it right away. Maybe we should read one of his poems tomorrow for Poetry Tuesday and see what kind of an advanced flavor we have to them. And here I will fold the mangled pub sheet so that, let's see, you can't make this any better. There we go. All right, so we start off with a slim volume of poetry from a small publisher. That's always fun. Now we'll move on here. I'm pretty sure that is not what has my spider sense tingling. Okay, all right. We saw this author's last book, Weekend in New York. We saw that a couple of times on this channel. And here is his next book. This is in early November. This is Benjamin Markovitz. This one is Christmas in Austin. How are we doing for angling here? There we go. When the four Essinger children gather in Austin for Christmas, they all bring their news. Nathan is hoping to become a federal judge. Susie's husband has taken a job in England. Jean has asked her boyfriend and boss to meet her family. Paul has broken up with Dana, mother of their son Cal. But the parents have plans too, and invite Dana to stay, hoping to bring the couple back together. As the week unfolds, the Essingers all face conflicts of loyalty and tension between old and new. Okay, so the very familiar fictional motif of a family gathering. We saw that. I saw that probably without exaggeration 50 times in the fiction of 2018. So I don't know what that is. Maybe it's a millennial thing, something about the family getting together might be striking some sort of zeitgeist chord. But I liked the Weekend in New York. I liked that book quite a bit. So this author has a very good track record with me. So we shall see. Again, I don't think that was the spider sense thing. I think there are goodies to come here. Let's see what this next one is. Okay, all right. This is from University of Chicago Press. This is from Reaction Books. Comes out in mid-November. This is by James Geach, Geach, and it's called 5 Photons: Remarkable Journeys of Light Across Space and Time. In 2014, a multi-institutional team of researchers reported seemingly incontrovertible evidence proving the inflation of the universe following the Big Bang. Evidence from gravitational waves as revealed in the unique polarization patterns of ancient light. Though the discovery of interference from space dust has since brought these results into question and likely cost the project leaders a Nobel Prize. Oh, brutal. One take-home is clear. The story of light is the story of everything. In 5 Photons, astrophysicist James Geach flips the switch on 5 forms of light. Light from the origins of the universe, starlight, dark energy, black holes, and radio waves. To illuminate the story of a universe both awe-inspiring and beautiful in its intricacies. Huh. Okay, so he is a Royal Society Research Fellow and a reader in astrophysics at the Center for Astrophysics Research at the University of Hertfordshire. And I'm not... This is fascinating. I can't wait. This comes out in mid-November. I will certainly read it before then. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head why they included the story of the disputed study of light, of ancient light, and gravity's effect on ancient light waves. I'm not sure why that would be included. I guess maybe it's discussed in the book. It's an odd note. That's all. Nobody's ever going to see the pub sheet except people like me. So I'm wondering, is that designed to help or to intrigue? I don't know. I don't know. It is interesting, but it is not spite sense worthy. So we're just going to plow ahead until we find the book that is in here that is going to make me squeal. I know there must be something. Okay. All right. Okay. We have hit one at long last. This is also from the University of Chicago Press. This is Habs Rolling Sea, A Natural History of Moby Dick by Richard King. No cell sheet, so you'll bear with me. We'll do this SFF 180 style. And those of you who are wondering, does that mean I'm going to do a professional job and that I'm going to know what I'm talking about? No, that's not what I meant. Although Herman Melville's Moby Dick is beloved as one of the most profound and enduring works of American fiction, we rarely consider it as a work of nature writing, or even a novel of the sea. Yet Pulitzer Prize-winning author Annie Dillard avers that Moby Dick is the best book ever written about nature. I would actually give that prize to her, but it's generous of her to say. And nearly the entirety of the story is set on the waves, with scarcely a whiff of land. In fact, Ishmael's sea yarn is in conversation with the nature writings of Emerson and Thoreau, and Melville himself did much more than live for a year in a cabin beside a pond. He set sail to the far remote Pacific Ocean, spending more than 3 years at sea before writing his masterpiece in 1851. That description rather neatly elides the other books that he wrote in between his voyage and 1851, but that's all right. I myself think that by the time he got to writing Moby Dick, he had written out of his system the stuff that he got in the Southern Ocean. I think his Pacific Ocean adventure writing had played itself out and begun to bore him. So I don't know that I would agree that Moby Dick was an outgrowth of that, although it's a quibble. A revelation for Moby Dick devotees and neophytes alike, Habs Rolling Sea is a chronological journey through the natural history of Melville's novel. Fantastic. The parts most readers skip is going to be the center of this book. From white whales to whale intelligent, giant squids, barnacles, albatross, and sharks, Richard King examines what Melville knew from his own experiences and the sources available to a reader in the mid-1800s, exploring how and why Melville might have twisted what was known to serve his fiction. And we know that Melville ordered a mountain of books, just a mountain of books. We know that not only from letters and journals and the accounts of other people who saw them, but also from Moby Dick itself, which starts out with an enormous info dump of the gleanings from those books. King then climbs to the crow's nest, setting Melville in the context of the American perception of the ocean in 1851. Huh. Oh boy, I can't wait. All right, so this comes out in November. All right. Well, that is certainly enough to justify this mail haul. Although I have a feeling, greedy pig that I am, that there are more squealers here than just this. I don't know how anything could be better, but maybe additional ones to this. Let's see here. I'm not sure that you're going to get any Frida in this mail haul. I doubt that's going to happen. It's rather warm, and the heat really does a number on her. It really does. Okay. All right. This is from Amazon. This is from Little A. Okay, what is this? So this is The Man with No Borders by Richard Moray. And it's from Amazon's Little A imprint. And the pub sheet here tells me that on September the 1st, it will be published simultaneously in hardcover, trade paperback, and ebook. Bravo. Bravo to Amazon. Don't front-load your list by giving the author a helicopter and $200 million because of hardcovers that are mostly going to be returned unsold. Don't do that. Just remake the whole system. That system worked fine 50, 60, 70 years ago. It doesn't work at all anymore. Now, instead of the market telling the reader what they can and cannot have, the reader should be able to tell the market, you know, you made an ebook, a paperback, and a hardcover of this book. Those of us who want each of those will get each of those. But, you know, we'd rather not wait a year for the format of our choice. So good for Amazon. Fantastic. So this is the author is the author of the New York Times bestselling The 100-Foot Journey. And this book is the moving story of forgiveness and redemption in which a dying man comes to terms with his mortality and long-buried family secrets. So this is a novel, then. Yes. As his fast-moving illness progresses, Jose Marie Alvarez, an aristocratic Spanish banker and world-renowned fly fisherman, increasingly struggles to maintain a grip on lucidity. But his mind is pulled into hallucinatory memories of the past, his boyhood in 1950s Franco-era Spain, with afternoons spent salmon fishing on the Sella River, 1960s West Village in New York City, romancing the American woman who would become his wife and the mother of his children. And those reveries are interrupted by visits to his life's darkest days, unearthing his most terrible mistakes and biggest regrets. Now, as his 3 estranged sons return home to his father's side, again, family gathering. Jose works out to outpace death long enough to finally put his house in order and exorcise its demons. Okay. All right. Who is the author? Who is the author when he's at home? He was both the editor of Barron's Penta and the European bureau chief for Forbes, and he's won 3 Business Journalist of the Year awards. His literary works were semi-finalists in the William Faulkner William Wisdom Creative Writing Competition and shortlisted for Britain's Ian St. James Award. Okay, he has a ton of accolades, just a ton of them. An experienced, worldly, and apparently much praised author. So we shall see on September 1st. We shall see the litmus test of this book. The terminally ill banker who's racing against time to make peace with his estranged sons, and who has a passion for fly fishing. We shall see. I won't spoil the surprise for myself or for you. But if in the last 25 pages of this novel our main character dies while fly fishing, this book is a failure. So we shall see. We shall see whether it's true or not. One way or another, it comes out in all kinds of formats on the 1st of September. That's great. All right, let's move on. Let's just barrel ahead here. What's this next one? Big thing, whatever it is. The source of my spider sense has been discovered. We have made our way to the headwaters of the Nile. Okay. All right. This comes out in early November from the Belknap Press of Harvard University Press. And Steve is pleased. Steve is very pleased. This is a gigantic biography of Metternich. Known far and wide, not Metternich, but this book, known far and wide in book circles for 60 years as a Steve book. That's what was setting off the old spider sense. Okay. All right. This is a translation of a work that came out a couple of years ago, I think. So Metternich was perhaps the most important European statesman of the first half of the 19th century. He held the highest civilian post in the Austrian Empire without interruption from 1809 to 1848, helped determine the shape of post-Napoleonic Europe, and established a system of international congresses that dominated international relationships up to 1918 and set the precedent for the League of Nations and the UN. His influence on international affairs in the first half of the century was so profound that the period is sometimes called the Age of Metternich. And there hasn't been a big, gigantic biography of this guy in a century. in English. I mean, and this wasn't originally in English. This was translated. Let's see. Let me get you the details here. The author is Wolfram Simon, and the translator is Daniel Stewart. Let's get to the meat of the matter here. 2017. This came out in oh no, it was originally published in 2016. The author revised it in 2017, and now in 2019 it's getting an English language translation. Fantastic. Oh my. This is a 900-page biography of Metternich. Steve is pleased. Okay. The first major reconsideration in over 75 years. Wolfram Simon's Metternich will endure as the essential guide to the 19th century Europe, indispensable for understanding the forces of revolution, reaction, and moderation that shaped the world. And the word that I've heard about this book is that it subtly, gently reassesses Metternich's relation to revolution. That date, remember, said he'd held high state offices from 1809 to 1848 without interruption. 1848, for those of you who know your European history, will ring a bell. It was a year of revolutions, and Metternich hated that above all. And it has widely been characterized as, therefore, a foe of what we would now call progressivism. And the impression I get from the German reviews of this book is that the author rather convincingly draws a much more nuanced picture. And I can't wait, because I've read the German reviews, but I haven't read the book at all. And I'm hoping that, what was his name again? Daniel Stewart, the translator. I'm hoping that he does a good enough job so that I forget that he's around. I want to forget that he's around, because it would be a huge rigmarole for me to get a copy of this book in German. I'd rather not do that. I would rather deal with this as an English language production. Which means that if I get to page 900 and all I'm doing is thinking about Metternich, then what I should do first is praise the translator, because he did not make me think about him, which is his job. So, great. Oh, all right. Okay. Then we have a big envelope, but it doesn't look like it's from a publisher. It could be from one of you, and it's huge. So we might be back to this pattern of some of you sending me presents. I don't know what I don't know what I'm supposed to think about. Some of you sending me presents. Oh, will you look at that? It's a present from one of you. I mentioned when we were, weeks ago, when we were I'm doing a library tour. I'm touring you endlessly through my endless freakish collection of books. And we did biographies. For weeks, we did biographies. And when I was done with the biography section, before I moved on, I mentioned that one of the things you notice right away about my biography collection, it's my favorite kind of book, obviously, as you just saw, since I lost my cookies over a biography of Metternich. It's my favorite kind of book. And when I was done with that biography tour, one of the first things that jumped out at me is what wasn't in it. All the things that aren't there. People I don't have even one biography of. People I have only one biography of when I should have 6. And also landmarks of biography in the 20th and 21st century. Books that are, no matter what I might think of their subjects, masterful examples of the art that I don't have. I mean, a perfect example of that, of the obverse would be Pasolini Requiem, which is a great biography of someone that I'm not interested in at all. I read the biography because of its worth as a biography, not because it was telling me anything about someone I was already interested in. And one of the books that I mentioned, I rattled off like a dozen biographies that I don't have, that I want. And one of the ones I mentioned was David McCullough's biography of Truman. And here it is. Here it is. One of you went to, you see these things all the time. I'm sure that if I were going to the Brattle as often as I used to do, I would have had a copy long since. You see copies of this everywhere. Library sales, flea markets, yard sales, all kinds of places. And one of you found it and remembered me saying that in my video. The note says, I came across an extra copy of Truman and heard you needed one. He is your favorite president, right? Even in the middle of giving me a gift, you're all wiseacres. I love it. So I have now McCullough's Truman. And you know that I'm going to want to reread it. I'm going to want to reread huge chunks of this. Maybe the whole thing. I haven't reread McCullough's Truman in I don't know how long. Wow, thank you so much. And then this last one is a box, but it's priority mail, and I think it might be another gift. Which is, we're going to have a long, stern talking to about this gift giving. They're supposed to go from me to you, not from you to me. What is this? Oh, no, okay, this has a pub sheet. What do we got here? Okay, no, all right, I was wrong. This is from a publisher. It's just, there must be a small publisher that just put the book in a mailer. Okay, so, how interesting. Oh, this is just interesting. Okay, so this is going to be published on September 15th, is that right? Yes, this is going to be published on September 15th, and this is Emerald City by Brian Birnbaum. Emerald City has a green cover, and Brian Birnbaum, I don't know if you're going to make out, he's very young. In fact, let's learn about him. He grew up 30 minutes west of Camden Yards in Baltimore, where... Impossible not to snag on that. It's impossible not to snag on that. Because Baltimore was the subject of one of an apparently limitless stream of racist tweets by the United States president. It's not poor Brian's fault. He must be outraged, though. Everybody from Baltimore must be outraged. Let's just move on. He grew up 30 minutes west of Camden Yards in Baltimore, where at 4 years old he cried because the Yankees were losing. Oh, there, Bambino. If they were losing to the Red Sox, it was clearly God's will. An MFA graduate of Sarah Lawrence College, his work has been published or is forthcoming in The Smart Set, The Collegist, Atticus Reviews, Slam Magazine, Lit Hub, Political Animal, and more. Again, I mean, it's great for him. That's a great CV. Smart Set especially has had some pieces from yours truly. But I can't stand that it has been published or is forthcoming. It's something about that, we trust you, and I'm holding your novel, so no one's thinking you're a slacker. But let's see here. Brian is the child of deaf adults. And in parentheses is an acronym, CODA, C-O-D-A. Those of you, is that true? Is that just the accepted term for child of deaf adults? CODA? I did not know that. And works in development for the family sign language interpreting business. He lives in Harlem with the writer M.K. Rainey and their dog. All right. Okay, so let's see what Brian has done. Do I get... Okay, the publicity sheet here has a big blurb by Sergio de la Pava, who's the author of A Naked Singularity, a fantastic modern novel. And he writes a whole enthusiastic paragraph about this guy, so that's worth its weight in gold. That is. Let's see what we have here. Set in Seattle, Emerald City follows Benison Behrenreich, the hearing son of deaf royalty. The author's name is Brian Birnbaum. The character in the book is Benison Behrenreich, and he is the son of deaf parents. His father, CEO of a multi-million-dollar deaf access agency, has bribed Myriadal College officials for Benison's spot on their powerhouse basketball team, where he struggles to prove himself and compensate for his father's sins. Julia Paulantonio has recently lost her father to a drug relapse. Her mother ships her off to live with her estranged granddad, Johnny Rasiti, during the summer before her freshman year at Myriadal. Johnny offers her a deal. Bring him Peter Foch, tormented college dropout and the best drug runner west of the Cascades, and he'll give Julia's freshly widowed mother a board seat on his mobbed-up securities firm. Okay. I'm sincerely hoping, for the author's sake, that we have strayed far from autofiction. When Benison's father is arrested for defrauding government subsidies for the deaf, the Behrenreichs are left vulnerable to his company's ruthless backers, namely Johnny Rasiti, forcing Julia and Peter to navigate the minefield left in the aftermath. Okay. Wow. All right. Well, that sounds mighty ambitious. Okay, so this is his book. This is from Dead Rabbits Books. No Greek gods or goddesses were available. You had to call your firm Dead Rabbits Books. But it sounds fascinating, doesn't it? It sounds fascinating. The one thing I don't know, though, this coda, child of deaf parents, is that meant to imply the child can hear? Are you coda if you are hearing, or are you coda anyway? In either case. I want to know more about that. This sounds fascinating, though. Emerald City. Okay. Okay, fantastic. And if Sergio de la Pava gives it a long blurb, that probably means that it is more than just its. I mean, the plot sounds fascinating, but for de la Pava to praise it so much, that probably has a lot to do. That probably is a reflection of its literary chops, not just its plot, because he doesn't. He's an incredible author when it comes to words on the page, sentences, paragraphs, that sort of thing. Let's read his blurb. In Emerald City, Brian Birnbaum expertly creates a kinetic but pained world. See what I mean about La Pava? The result is an addictive blend of compelling discovery and desultory recognition. Above all, it's the authenticity of the work that most controls. Birnbaum has a true gift for creating individual characters, and people like Julia jump off the page as not just magnetic emblems, but as perfect repositories for the empathic magic of fiction. I wish this guy would write book reviews. Then there's the prose. It's subtly sly and inventive throughout, but also perfectly pitched to particular story and structural demands, expansive enough to encompass the universal, but also honed enough to beautify the granular. Okay, well, this comes out in mid-September. I will read it before then. The combination of the small press, the obvious fact that this is the author's debut, and also the long blurb by Sergio de la Pava reminds me of A Naked Singularity, which I used to have a post office box for the old Open Letters Monthly. We used to have a post office box in Boston's Kenmore Square, 10 feet from Fenway Park. And one day when I used to go all the time and clear it out. And one day when I was there, we had a copy of Sergio de la Pava's A Naked Singularity back when he was self-publishing it. And it was one of the many, many books that I got that day, and it was, I think, the only one that wasn't from a major publisher. And I was reflexively scornful. I thought, what's this? The original cover of Naked Singularity was kind of boring. The pages pulled off from the backing of the book with one little tug. It didn't make it home with me in one piece. And I thought, can't you do any better than this? Isn't it bad enough that you're sending your self-published fiction just willy-nilly to an online website no one's ever heard of? And then I read it. I had a moment where I thought, well, form notwithstanding, you should read this thing. It's a big, big book. Somebody put a lot of work into writing this. I was blown away. Absolutely blown away. And it was gratifying to see that the rest of the literary world quickly was blown away as well. And he got a publishing deal with an established publisher, and will never have to worry about self-publishing his book and sending it out willy-nilly anymore. And that's great. And maybe that lightning will strike twice. That would be awesome for Brian Birnbaum and for the Republic of Letters. So that is it. That was a very much squealy mail haul. That was indeed. So we have David McCullough's Truman, which one of you know who you are, sent to me. How incredibly nice. We have Metternich. So 2 enormous biographies. We have The Man with No Borders, Ahab's Rolling Sea, in which the author mines Moby Dick for its natural history, Emerald City by Brian Birnbaum, 5 Photons, a study of 5 different kinds of light, Here, a slim volume of poetry, and Christmas in Austin by Benjamin Markovitz. So there you go. That is the mail haul on this very, very warm Monday. This is the first day in a projected 3-day heat wave for Boston. And as hot and humid as it was today, tomorrow is predicted to be much worse. So I went out and did errands today. I went out with my boys and walked around, which I really shouldn't do, even though the heat feels wonderful to me. I really shouldn't do that. And tomorrow I don't plan to do anything of the kind. Not anything of the kind. If it's supposed to get really hot, be really hot, by 10 in the morning, then I'm going to be nice and sedate, more than usual. So I will probably be seeing you tomorrow, is I guess what I'm warning you about. But I'm going to wrap this up for now. So I'll see you soon. Thank you, Book 2.